Brock. It was good seeing you yesterday, man. Been a long time. I think the last time I saw you, I was still operating out of the garage. And that was back in the day when I would have you goons show up and just hang out for a minute. And I would evaluate your gear right there in front of you. Kind of miss those days. At any rate, happy Wednesday to you guys out there. We're here in, well, not so sunny Southern California this morning in the midst of what I would call a heat wave for the area. Lots of cloud cover today, though. Not much in the way of humidity. So, having said all that, look at this lovely old Silvertone. Good old Sears and Roebuck and Company. This is a 1432 model. Has a single 12 with a small Alnico magnet. A power amp somewhat similar to what you would find in a day where you have a dual 6v6 push-pull configuration. However, this one does use a little odd assortment of tubes that you would see in some of the, I don't want to call it lower end, but some of the more budget-friendly amps that you would find in the old catalog surplus. I'm talking about the old 6X5, the 6AU7, or 6AU6 rather, forgive me. And otherwise it's the usual complement. So this one does have the dual chassis setup with the umbilical cords where the preamp is sitting at the top, and then you have your power amp and a separate chassis down below. And if you notice, the lighting looks a lot better in here. It's because I moved the shop back, the desk back where it was. Everything is a compromise in life. So I had to learn that the hard way with the shop as well. That if I'm going to have the lighting that I want in the workspace that I want, then maybe on the other end of the room, it's not going to be as nice as I want. But oh well, what are you going to do? Now, Brock, you were telling me that this thing is not powering on, and it's simply because you have a blown fuse here. Now, why is it blown? Your guess is as good as mine. Could it be the rectifier? Could it be the power tubes? Could it be a filter cap inside the chassis? Who knows? But we should definitely find out. So I'm going to replace this fuse and get her hooked up on a current limited supply and see what's going on. But before I do any of that, let's verify that this is the correct fuse to begin with. All right, so yeah, it was the correct fuse. So I have her refused. Now, let's get the current limiter engaged into the circuit there and give her a nice little power up. And observing the bulb, a very, very faint glow of the filament, which is great. This is a 200 watt bulb that I use in mine. I find that's a good all-purpose wattage for the range of amps that I'm servicing. All right, perfect. Okay, let's see if we can get some kind of volume somewhere. This is tremolo. The tremolo controls. Instrument. There we go. Instrument channel, a little crunchy. Microphone channel. A little crunchy as well. All right, let's get the limiter off out of the circuit. See if we have any naughty tubes. And you want to be careful when you're back here. We have some exposed terminals for the output transformer. There's a lot of current source there, so you want to watch what you're doing. All right, so I'm going to have to figure out how to remove this shield. I don't want to do anything destructive with one hand, but I have to do a clean and retention. Okay, so and I'm just tapping on the tubes there. So yeah, so let me get these chassis removed from the cabinet. I'm gonna have to desolder the speaker leads or the output transformer leads on the secondary side, so I could have freedom of movement. And we'll take a peek inside of these chassis. I got to go to an appointment in about 30 minutes, but maybe we can get something interesting done before then. All right, so we've got the leads from that OT secondary removed from the terminals there. And with this type, you want to be very careful that you remove as much solder as you can, and don't just pull on these. There's very little metal there, so it's quite easy to fatigue this little tip here and remove it just by yanking on the lead. So just be very careful. All right, so as you can see, Brock, these tubes here are the original complement. You can see the Silvertone silk screening there on the bases of the octals and then on the glass envelopes of the other guys. So let me get her turned over so you can see what's up. All right, so if you've ever restored or been on the inside of an old oscilloscope, you might recognize these Planet electrolytics, which were very big in the 50s. So I would recommend changing these two guys. The guy here is a multi-section. This one here is a single. And then the requisite spider, of course. Gotta have them. It's gotta be there. What else are you gonna do? The little, what they call the death cap there, which we can remove. Yeah, this is the cathode here. This is being grounded over here on the other end of that terminal strip. It's unbypassed, so there's a great opportunity. Well, no, that's not true at all. It's being bypassed by this guy. Awesome. So let me take a look at these guys. These, I don't know if this is a Sangamo or not. I don't have the heart to rotate them and break the leads. But I'll test for leakage. And not on this guy, of course. That one's going bye-bye. But yeah, let me blast this guy out with some air. For sure, we need to do a little minor cap job there. The tube sockets are extremely corroded. It looks like your tubes might be okay. I'm not getting any type of overcurrent situation there. So let me get this cleaned up. And once I get this guy knocked out, then I can turn my attention to the preamp side. Yeah, the infamous Sangamo caps.